all social media. I just got to make sure everything is up and going. For those who just joined us, my name is Amuna. We are going to jump into Saul and David and this conversation. This is our 5th installment, okay? So if you've missed it, I've taken the time to put it all together on a timeline. So the question is, when they hate you but you love them, right? I guess it's more of a statement. And we've been going over and looking at the interaction between Saul and David. We found out some very interesting things looking at it in a different
interaction between Saul and David.
We found out. Hold on. We can't be having feedback. What? Well, so we're gonna go ahead and jump into it right now. We're in 1 Samuel 21. Let us know in the comment section how you've been enjoying this series, and we'll continue. So what has happened up until this point and why it's important for the purpose of this study is to look at how things are happening before you're actually born, right? Before you come into a storyline. I kind of want to look at the narrative of the biblical narrative in our own personal lives in a very parallel way so that we can use the lessons learned there and hopefully apply it to our own lives and progress, right? When I go live at night, my voice gets a little bit more deeper as I get closer to sleep time. So just bear with me. But once again, so far, David has found out that Saul really hates him. He does not know why. He ran to go get Samuel, who's the prophet. Samuel didn't tell him why. There's a price on his head. He's going from post to pillar and pillar to post. Now he goes back to his good friend Jonathan, who happens to be the heir apparent, right? Or Saul's son. And Jonathan has no answers for him really, except that he's trying to see how much his father really hates him. So when he realizes that they devise a plan, as we saw, to see, how upset his father was. And when he realized that David was in gross trouble, he let him know. And now David is on his way out of town. Okay. So what it looks like is David is homeless, although he just got married. What's going on, Judah? Welcome to the conversation. He's married to Saul's daughter. So he's just in a toxic family unit. When we say, somebody said to me the other day, I didn't realize, there's a toxic family unit dysfunction going on in the house of Saul. And David has married right onto it. Now, in present day, or before our time, our forefathers, our grandmothers, our mothers, our fathers may have married into a toxic family. They may not have known what was happening before they got there. But now that they're there, they have interwoven their lives with the lives of those in this family unit. And it can adversely affect us, right? So in David's case, he's crying out to the Creator, like, or really, he's like, what have I done? Where is my offense? And a lot of the songs that we see comes from this experience. So for the sake of time, we're going to continue now after I've just recapped that. And this is 1 Samuel 21. I brought my water this day too, because I need a reader. Read. Then came David to Nob, to Achimelech, the priest. I got to turn up the screen on this one. Make it a little bigger. Hold on, peoples. All my reading online over the years. And let me share this over here so that you guys can see. Hold on one second. Messing with my eyes, y'all. It's messing with my eyes. It's messing with my eyes. All right, boom. Here we go. All right, boom. There we go. Okay. One more thing here. It's messing with my eyes. How's everybody doing today? I pray you're doing well. Keeping warm and all that good stuff. Staying out of trouble. I don't know. One more thing before I get started here. See, when you're your own tech person, you got to make sure everything is good. I have to do the smile every now and then. All right, boom. All right, boom. All right, here we are. I don't know why it does that. Anyway, 21. Then came David to Nob, to Achimelech the priest. Remember, David is on the run. He cannot go home because there's a price on his head. He cannot go back to where wifey is because the crazy father-in-law lives there, right? Everybody, if they see David and they get him, then they might stand to gain profit, right? So now he's like, forget this. I'm not going back to the prophet. I'm going to the priest. So he goes to Achimelech, and Achimelech, which Achi is brother of the king. So I don't know if he's the actual brother of the king or what. And Achimelech was afraid at the meeting of David. Why is the priest afraid? This is how the things in the land have become so corrupt that the order is out of order. And this is what the problem was. So how is the priest, the man of the creator, afraid of the fact that David has appeared? Because the king put a price on David's head and said unto him, why are you alone? And no man with you? What are you doing out here at this time of night and nobody with you? Don't you know that this is dangerous? Okay. And 2, and David said unto Achimelech the priest, the king hath commanded me a business. Now here get David. David is trying to spare his life at this point. He is fibbing. I mean, he is telling, he commanded you, all right, and have said unto me, let no man know anything of the business whereabout I send you. Now, David, we know that's not what happened. We know Jonathan told you to get out of town, and that's what you're doing. And Saul did not send you off, because if Saul had saw you, he would have did you in. And what I have commanded thee, and I have appointed my servants to such and such a place. No, that's not what happened. 3, now therefore, what is under thine hand? He's hungry. Like I told you, he's roaming in the wilderness. He's hungry. There's a lot of questions going on with David. Again, this could be the case where I keep making, it could have been your case. It could have been your parents kicked you out at 16. It could have been their parents kicked them out. It could have been the support system. Remember, he's young. The support system that he's supposed to have is not there. He's homeless and he's hungry. So he says to the priest, after he lied to him, like, yo, what are you doing here? He was like, yeah, no worries. The king sent me. 4. And the priest answered David and said, no, wait, pause. He said, now wherefore is under thine hand? He's hungry. Give me 5 loaves of bread. Like he had a predetermined number in his hand. All right. That we didn't say, yo, give me a little morsel. Give me 2. He was like, give me 5 loaves of bread. So you got to be clear in your thought. You got to know exactly what it is you want. 5 loaves of bread in my hand, or what there is present. So he gives his number first and then says, or if you don't have that, whatever you got. I'll take whatever you got. I'm not being picky. Like, subscribe, and share if you're going to. You already know you're going to enjoy it. Come on down, peoples. You already know you're about to enjoy this Bible study. So do the thing now. Do the thing. Make go get that out of the way. All right. Because you're going to leave here with something for your life, right? So 5. And David answered, back up 4. And the priest answered David and said, there is no common bread. Because remember, if he's going to the priest, he's asking him for the showbread or the priestly bread. And according to the Torah, the common man cannot eat of the priestly food, right? The daughter cannot even eat of the priestly food if she's been married or if she's in someone else's house. So David, of a whole nother tribe, which is not Levi, is Judah, he's asking for the priest to break some laws. Okay. So the priest respond like, there's no common bread under my hand. Like, I don't have bread for everybody right now. This is holy bread. But there is a hollow bread. You see, if the young men have kept themselves at least from women, now the priest is making concessions. Because you don't want to see the people dead for hunger. You already know the place is corrupt. You already know the thing is upside down. You already know it's not good in the hood. So he's already making concessions because he knows they already heard that David is a marked man. So basically, and I said this before, if the men have kept themselves at least from women, that means if they're not unclean, if they didn't defile themselves, if they wasn't doing horizontals, hokies and pokies. You understand what I'm saying? And I'll give you something to eat. 5. And David answered the priest and said unto him, although David from you show up, say it wasn't telling the truth, right? So whether or not this is true, this next part, I don't know. Of a truth. He's like, man, I lie to you. He said, of a truth, women have been kept from us about these 3 days. It may be the 3 days that it took you to get to the priest. I don't know how far it was from where you were to where you was going, but he bust out with 3 days. Since I came out and the vessels of the young men are holy. And the bread is a manna common, yea, though if it were sanctified this day in the vessel. David's just like, man, give me the food. 6, so the priest gave him hollow bread, for there was no bread there but the showbread. And then another question is, if they're supposed to have for the hungry, then the people were supposed to be giving the tithes, which was in food and grain and animals. Why was there no bread at the priest's house? There's just so many questions going on. We see that it wasn't all up and up at this time in the nation. Let's continue. That was taken from before the Most High to put hot bread in the day when it was taken away. Okay, so this all has to do with law, showbread, the commandments, what they're supposed to be doing, X, Y, and Z, right? 7, now a certain man of the servants of Saul was there that day, detained before the Most High. Here we go. Somebody knows what it is. Somebody's always there. Paparazzi and TMZ was in the spot. Now a certain man of servants of Saul, the king. Okay, TMZ just happened to be there while what is TMZ doing? What is TMZ doing here at the temple? Detained before the Most High, and his name was Doeg, an Edomite, the chiefest of the herdmen that belonged to Saul. And David said unto Abimelech, and is there not here under thine hand spear or sword? Again, he's looking for a weapon. I think I talked about this before. The spear, the sword, all of these things are weapons. It's just like a gun. So not only did he go to the priest, mislead him so that he can get some food, he's now also asking the priest, do you have a piece? Do you have a burner? Do you have a weapon? For I have neither brought my sword nor my weapons with me, because the king's business required haste. It sure did require haste. The king's business was him trying to get at David, right? The king's business was him trying to get at David. So David is lying through by omission here, asking the priest, the holy man of the Most High. That's like running up into someone's church and asking TD Jakes, while he's in the back doing whatever, I don't know, Bible study. He's gonna ask him, yo, you got a gun in here? I need that. 9, and the priest said, the sword of Goliath the Philistine, whom you slew in the valley of Elah, behold, it is here wrapped in a cloth behind the ephod. Before, remember when he took the head of Goliath and he took the sword, he put it up. So I suppose he put it with Achimelech, and so now he's going to retrieve it. If you will take that, remember, we also went over how big the sword actually was. It was like 15 pounds, if I can remember correctly. I think I did this. I don't know. I think I read this one before. It was like 15 pounds for the sword. So he's over here about to walk around with this, like a double barrel shotgun. Like the sword wasn't even for you. It was for Goliath, who was huge, by the way. It says, behold, it is here wrapped in a cloth behind the ephod. If you will take that, take it. For there is no other save that here. I have no weapons here, brother. You know what I mean? Like, if you want that, take that. And David said, there is none like that. Give it to me. It's all right, man. Me will take it. Now, David is walking around. Can you imagine this little, small, ruddy guy walking around with this big 15 pounds worth of 15 pounds worth of metal? What in the world? And David arose and fled that day for fear of Saul, and went to Achish, the king of Gath. So people would say, man, that was survival. I don't know what you're talking about. David did what he needed to do. How many of our foreparents, because of the precarious situation they found themselves in, may have lied, may have misrepresented, may have done things that they may not be proud of, but they did what they needed to do in that to stay alive. Because remember, he's running for his life. Why I say that is because in those moments, those decisions that they made, even though it can be justified, that they had a good reason to make those choices, right? Those things adversely affect us. What's going on says, well, those things adversely affect us in the here and now. We see these things that David chose to do at this time, they're going to adversely affect his children. But at the time when he was in the situation, he just thought, hey, man, I need to do what I need to do. So he justified lying to the priest. He justified eating the holy bread. He justified, getting a burner from the house of the Most High so that he can protect himself against Saul. Right? So these are some of the things that we oftentimes up against when we're looking through our own family genealogy and be like, oh, chill, I didn't know great grandpa George did that. I didn't know such and such did this. Right? And then we're wondering, well, why is this happening? Why is this happening with the children or with the males or with the females in the family? Because great grandpa or great grandma or auntie such and such did X, Y, and Z. We have no idea, but it doesn't matter why they did it. The fact that they did it starts this energetic thing that's moving down the lane. Welcome to those who just joined us. Okay, so far David's on the run. He's telling all type of stuff to everybody just so he could stay alive. Okay, let's go. And he rose and fled that day for fear. So fear will make people lie. It will make people steal. It will make people misrepresent themselves for fear. And he had a right to be afraid because he was fearful for his life. He was shot after many times. He had a price on his head. So he went to Achish, the king of Gath, a whole nother nation. 11. And the servants of Achish said unto him, is not this David? Remember, before this point, David was hot guns. He was doing up everybody. Remember, he slew 200 Philistines so that he could marry Micah. He was going to war. His name was everywhere, but he was on the run. It wasn't a good look. Okay? He was on the run. It goes on to say, did they not sing one to another of him in dances? I told you about that song. I'm going to have to go in my thought process to really think about. Shalom, welcome to everybody who's just joined us. I'm going to my thought process to really think about the song. The guy brought up the song. He said, did they not sing one another of him in dances, saying, Saul have slain his thousands and David his 10,000? This was on the Israelite top 100. Like they got Billboard top. This was on the Israelite top 100. Everybody, even the king of Achish knows about this song. What type of song? Did the song have a video? This song was viral. David is like, they're like, nah, David, this is not you. It's like you sing, like sometimes you have the rich celebrities who you see them on the street and they're like, what? Is this not such and such? The person who went double platinum? What are you doing here? It's kind of that way there. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of that same vibration. They're like, whoa. Aren't you nationally acclaimed? What are you doing here? And David laid up these words in his heart. Because David's like, backside, them figure me out. And it said, and was so afraid of Achish, the king of Gath. So now he don't know where to turn. He don't know who to trust. He going left and right. He's afraid of everybody at this point. Remember, I have to keep going back to David's situation and some of the things that we may find out as we move through life, our own life and doing our own journey, is that he was selected. He was minding his business somewhere in a field, fighting lions and tigers and bears. He's anointed. He decides, hey, I could use a come up. He fights Goliath. He gets street cred. He get a new job. He gets some new clothes. He get a new shorty. Everything is going well for David, except for the fact that he's hated by his new master, his new king, which is Saul, right? And then everything has been spiraling since then. So 13, and he changed his behavior before them. So he was like, oh man, this is not a safe place. I thought this, and I would go look up and see really the king of Gath and the relationship at this point, but I'm not going to do that for sake of time. So it says he changed his behavior because he was like, oh, this is not a safe place. Like, is this a safe place? Can I connect? Can I tap in? He's like, no, it's not a safe place. It's not a safe thing. And he feigned himself mad in their hands. David was on one and scrambled on the doors of the gate and let his spittle fall down his bed. Holmesy was acting like a madman. Go, shalom to everybody who just joined us. David is out here acting like a madman. I mean, he's under pressure. He got spit drooling from his mouth. He scrambled, he stamped like he's drunk or something is going on. He's pretending like he's not all the way well because he doesn't want them to come for him. 14. Then said Achish unto his servants, lo, you see the man is mad. David is a madman. Wherefore then have ye brought him to me? The king is like, where you bring this man? This is David, and he's over there doing the most. It's kind of like a Most High rest her soul. But at the time when we were growing up, Whitney Houston is big. Whitney Houston is huge. So when you see Whitney Houston and Bobby and Whitney, and you see the Whitney Houston that they created, and then you see, what did they used to call her? What's the nickname for her? I forgot the nickname. You see her acting weird, or you see her when she was on the not Barbara Walters. What's the name of the next lady? She was on the interview, and she was out of it. You're like, is this Whitney Houston? Like, is this the woman and I? Is this and I? This can't be and I. Y'all bugging, right? So that's kind of the same vibration that I'm getting here in this space right here. But let's continue. 15. Have I need of a madman, that ye brought this fellow to play the madman in my presence? Shall this fellow come into my house? Remember, David is trying to find a lodging. He's trying to get an Airbnb. He's trying to find out. Sorry, I kicked the thing by accident. He's trying to find out where it is he can go, because it's cold outside. He hungry. All kind of stuff is going on, and I don't know why or how. Maybe there's a truce, but he appeals to Achish, and Achish eventually is like, "Why did you bring him here? Sorry, why did you bring him here?" So we're gonna continue. There's some people who have where you went from one place in life and you went to another place. Your foreparents may have moved. My foreparents moved from one country all the way to another country, not knowing what was in store for them, right? And I went through and did a lot of research on that. Let's go to 22. Hold on 1 second. Because that journey in and of itself, to move from one country, not knowing what to expect in another country. But he's going from one city to another city, trying to find some place to live. And in addition to that, it's not well, right? It's not well. So when it comes on time, why I keep pointing this out? What happens before we come into a story is important. When it comes time for David to have children, how present do we think he's going to be? Hold on a second. All of this stuff is. So when he's not present, or he's not the best father, can we see how the life that he led before this point can play, or could have played a role in how he treated his children? There's a lot of people who points to David and be like, David did it. David did it. But do you really understand David? Like, sis, we don't need to psychoanalyze David. We kind of do, because it will help us. It helps us to get an understanding of, based on what they left on record, of people and how it works and how they end up being and becoming who they end up being and becoming. So let's continue for the sake of time. For the sake of time. Peace to everyone who's just joined us. We are now on 22. We're taking a look at David. We haven't heard from Saul. We don't know if the evil spirit is tormenting him at night. We don't know if he over there burning frankincense and myrrh. We don't know what Saul over there doing. But he's quiet for right now. Now it's David. David is at the forefront. 22. David therefore departed thence and escaped to the cave of Adullam. The man is in a cave. Military said David homeless. David is in a cave. How many times have we ever heard that David was homeless? Sometimes people look at the text and we want to aggrandize everything. David is homeless. What is he doing in a cave? He went to a Gath, a whole other king. He went to the priest. I'm going to have to put it on pause because I told the young ones to please not be loud while I'm out here doing what it is that I do. And I can hear a lot of laughter here. I hear a lot of laughter. Yeah, hold on 1 second before I go into 22. 1 second. All right, peoples, I'm back. There was a lot of merrymaking going on. I'm like, what is so funny about here? Anywho, we're on chapter 22. So is there any in your storyline about somebody struggling at a transitionary point in their life? And we have to, because it's important when you struggle too. at a very transitionary point in your life, or at the beginning when you were very young, when they were very young? Did they have you as a child when they were young, when they were more established, when they were older? All of that's very important as we look at the own tapestry of our own lives. 22. David therefore departed thence and escaped to the cave of Adullam. And when his brethren and all his father's house heard, man, y'all be on the, I heard it to the grapevine that David was in the cave of Adullam. How do y'all hear so quickly? And when his brethren and all his fathers heard, they didn't even have a cell phone. They went down thither to him. Remember, Saul's peoples is coming up to David. They're going to David's father's house. The block is hot. And so they're concerned. So they hear he's at the cave of Adullam. And they go to him. And everyone that was in distress, and everyone that was in debt, and everyone that was discontented gathered themselves unto him. And he became a captain over them. So now, the story is getting crazy. This man is on the run, but they're also not feeling what's going on with Saul, okay? So everybody that was in distress, in debt, or discontented was like, David, okay, now y'all remember that David got anointed? In the midst of all of the troubles, they remember David's anointed, and they make him captain over them. And there were with him about 400 men. So they roll on out to the cave to get behind David, to get him on a strength, okay? And David went thence to Mizpeh and of Moab. And he said unto the king of Moab, let my father and my mother, I pray thee, come forth and be with you till I know what the Most I will do for me. Remember, the block is hot. If Saul doesn't like David, Saul definitely ain't going to like the house of Jesse, right? And so David wants to kind of secure them. And it's interesting that he's appealing to these strangers to do so. Because at this point, his family is not in position to help him in the way that he needs. And he brought them there before the king of Moab, and they dwelt with him all the while that David was in the hold. So they kind of didn't want to be held up, I think, because he can't get David, so he gonna get his peoples, right? There's some, I keep bringing it back. There's some situations where because the person couldn't get the person that they did not like, or because they couldn't get the father or the whoever, then they took it out on the child, or vice versa. Let's continue. It says, and the prophet Gad said unto David, abide not in the hole, depart and get thee into the land of Judah. Then David departed and came into the forest of Hareth. He's going into caves. He's going into forests. I mean, David. But the prophet was like, yo, don't stay here. It's not a good place. Go into the land. When Saul heard, more than cell phone, who needs a cell phone in this time? Who needs a cell phone? Everybody is dropping dime. When Saul heard that David was discovered, what? The man come back. And the men that were with him, now Saul abode in Gibeah under a tree in Ramah, having his spear, aka his weapon, in his hand, and all his servants were standing about. Word come now. Okay, word come. Dude is back. Then Saul said unto his servants that stood about him, hear now, ye Benjamites, will the son of Jesse give every one of you fields and vineyards, and make you all captains of thousands and captains of hundreds? He pulling rank now. He trying to entice them now, because he realized the thing that he feared. Remember, every time David was elevated, this text kept saying, and Saul feared David, in the sense that David is now going to take him over every time. So now we're here. And he realizes that he's losing his grip. He's losing his grip on the people, right? So he goes on to say 8, that all of you have conspired against me, and there is none that show me that my son have made a league with the son of Jesse. What you mean? You already knew that. Didn't you try to shoot after your own son and call his mother essentially a profane woman? I mean, Saul he must have early onset of Alzheimer's. I don't know what's going on with Saul. And there is none of you that is sorry for me. This is something, I have a course that I'm a relaunch. Now he's playing poor thing. Remember, he's the aggressor. He's the one who was conspiring. He was the one who had ill intent. But now all of a sudden, when the thing that he feared came upon him through his own actions, now is there none that of you that is sorry for me? Poor me. Why should they be sorry for you, Saul? Look at all the foolishness that you was into. Judith says she over there with snacks stuffing her face like she watching a good movie. That's how it's supposed to be. We're supposed to be able to be like, yo, I could see it. I could see it. I could see it. Right? Because humanity doesn't really change much. As we see, you ain't had no cell phones, but everybody was tweeting. Everybody was peeping through their windows doing the TMZ. Oh, chill. I saw Kanye. Like right now, they're like, Kanye is missing. I wonder where Kanye is. The same thing. Saul was over there like, David is missing. Has anybody seen him? TMZ saw David. They're like, we saw that Negro in the land of Judah come through. Nothing is different. Right now, they say Kanye's missing. David was missing. Now here comes David popping up. And now Saul feeling sorry. And he's trying to evoke some type of sympathy. I don't know how, from everybody else. And there is none of you that is sorry for me, or show unto me that my son have stirred up my servant again. He's triangulating. This is some narc type behavior here, Saul. This is triangulation. He says now he's blaming the servants, the same servants that he wanted to bloody their hands, that he put a price on David's head so that he can fulfill the evil lusts of his evil spirit that troubles him at nighttime. Okay. And he is now trying to guilt trip these same servants by telling them that it's their fault that they didn't warn him that his son was in league with David, and he's gonna now lose the kingdom. I'm sorry, Saul. What? Anywho, it says, or show unto me that my son have stirred up my servant against me. Bro, I think it's the time you shot after him when he was playing the harp. I think that it was all of those times. To lie in wait as at this day, acting like he asking a serious question. What is really good? What is really good? Okay, I got to stop there because like Saul, you may have had, if we're talking about breaking generational curses, you may have had the aggressor in the family, or in the soul family. You may have had the offender, the one who had the evil spirit, the one who had the mental disorder, the one who's the disruptor, the one who's causing all the problems. Okay. And when things are turning back on them, all of a sudden they're employing the poor me act so that they can get the very same people they abused to be on their side. Similarly, I never wrote that paper, by the way, but it's still in my mind. I wanted to write a book about slavery as a domestic violence institution. And this is some of the things that you saw during after the Civil War, right? And now the slave master lost all his riches. Remember, when he had it, when it was on his side, he was over there. He was over there selling. He was over there doing everything. Now is going to Hades in a handbasket. And he wants to be walking in front of the servants like, I don't got much to pay you and I can't keep you on. But if you want to, you could stay. What? Are we okay? Let me continue. Saul, you triggered me just now. I'm sorry. 9. Then answered Doeg the Edomite. Remember, Doeg was the one that said who was there. He wasn't even an Israelite. Doeg is over here doing the Vlad TV on the kid. He's over here acting like Vlad, right? He's in everybody's business, but he's not a part of the people. He's like, but I like your culture. I'm going to start calling him Doeg, which was set over the servants of Saul and said, remember, everybody goes to the station to go tell on themselves over there on Vlad TV. And look where Doeg is. See, nothing new under the sun. He's over the servants of Saul and said, I saw. I got the video. Remember when you said that you was in the club and you was chopping up keys in the back? You're like, what type of stuff is this? Are you putting on video, sir? Who's doing this? Like, who sent you? Let me stay on track. No more YouTube references. Which was said, I can't promise, over the servants of Saul and said, I, Vlad, saw the son of Jesse come into Nob to Abimelech, the son of Hatub. Akitub. Like, broski, not only did you say you saw him, you got his whole GPS coordinates. I saw the son of Jesse. You implicating the father. Coming to Nob. And then specifically knocking on Achimelech, the son of Akitub. Achimelech is the priest. So what is Doeg into? Is he trying to get the priest hemmed up? It looks like it. It looks like it. It looks like he's trying to get the priest hemmed up. You're doing too much, bro. Did Saul ask you? See? And you might have that one sibling who, because they're trying to save their own behind, right? And they know that the person or is not right, or even if you're in the office or wherever you are where you have this type of power structure, they throw people under the bus left and right. 10. And he inquired of the Most High for him and gave him victuals. Animatelpan the priest. Doeg, no one asks you. And he inquired of the Most High for him and gave him victuals and gave him the sword of Goliath the Philistine. This sound like Doeg. Vlad was taking some type of lessons from Doeg, because he stayed getting people to tell on themselves. 11. The king sent to call Achimelech. You see this now? Now you know the king is not right. You know his head is not all together. You know, as a king, he's supposed to be a judge. This is why y'all asked for a king, that he may judge righteously over the people. You know the man is not in the right capacity to perform this function, right? He's in the middle of an impeachment trial. This is what this is. He's in the middle of an impeachment trial and he has to get out of office, but he's holding on to office, and you know that he's going to have to come out, but you don't care. You're going to throw everybody on the bus on your way out. So the king sent to call Achimelech the priest, the son of Achitub, and all of his father's house. The text says, the man that sins shall surely die. Now the question is, did the priest sin? So not only, because we know Saul is on one, not only does he call for the priest, he calls for people who don't have nothing to do with it, and all of his father's house. The priests that were in Nob, and they came all of them to the king. Remember, David misinformed the priest, by the way. The priest was already shook. He understood that this wasn't a good look. However, he saw David and he didn't refuse him. He gave him something to eat. Okay? So the priest did a number of things, like, technically, nobody's supposed to see me. Nobody's supposed to know. Yo, just go in peace. But no. The streets is watching. Okay? And Saul said, hear now, thou son of Achitub. And he answered, here I am. He's calling him his Lord, master, right? And Saul said unto him, this is 13. Here y'all know. Why have you conspired against me, thou and the son of Jesse, in that you have given him bread and a sword, and has inquired of the Most High for him, that he should rise against me to lie in wait, as at this day? That abuser does not want you to help others to escape their wrath. And what it does is it confuses the mind, because they emotionally toy with you and mess with your mind to make you think that right is wrong and wrong is right. So this is what he's doing right now. This is what today's time is called gaslighting him. He is trying to convince him that the thing he did was wrong. And no one is, except for Jonathan, is in the space to be like, hey, Saul, this is wrong. What do you mean? You were pursuing this guy. He didn't do anything to you. You know he's anointed, and you're employing everyone, okay, to be down with your foolishness. And he over here asking questions like it's like he's serious about this, right? So let's continue. 14. Then Abimelech answered the king and said, and who is so faithful among all the servants as David, which is the king's son-in-law? Like, lest we forget, and goeth at thy bidding, and who is honorable in thy house. He's like, yo, are you forgetting who you're pursuing and who you're chastising me about? 15. Did I then begin to inquire of the Most High for him? Yo, the priest, yo, Achimelech, But be it far from me, let not the king impute anything unto his servant, nor to all the house of my father, for thy servant knew nothing of all this, less or more. He's like, me no know wagwan, me never know nothing. I mean, know is David was down for you. He went to war for you. Last time I heard, y'all were on good terms. I did it out of the goodness of my heart. I don't know what you're talking about. This is what the priest is saying, right? Where are we? 15. No, 16. And the king said, here y'all know. Here y'all know. Yeah, for those who just joined us, welcome to the conversation. And you be like, why is Amuna talking patois while breaking down the scriptures? Because it's like reading, it's for real. It's like reading a soap opera. It's nothing but drama. It shows you how people and human behavior doesn't change much unless we change it. It shows you how once you sin from one to another, you begin to devolve and do a downward spiral until you understand why and how you got to that point. It shows us how people who sin, they collect other people so that they can implicate them so that they can also be in sin, right? And they turn judgment on its head. What's right is wrong and what's wrong is right. We see this in households of abuse. We see where the person who knows that is wrong, who is supposed to be in charge, either the mother, the father, the guardian, the caretaker, and the person who does not have the power in that relationship, maybe the young child, they make it to seem as though that child is wrong while the person who is the abuser is right. This same power dynamic, if we look at it, if we take away king and all of this stuff, it's power shifting and power dynamic, right? And so because he's the king, he has the ability to manipulate the minds of those who serve him. This is why the creator said this was a bad look. And this is also why some parents who think that just because they are parents, that gives them the right to exploit those who they are responsible for, and to think that they're not going to pay for that, that's delusions of grandeur right there. But let's continue as I continue to get down here because it's about to get saucy. And the king, aka Saul, said, "You're dead." That's what he said. That's my translation. You shall surely die, Achimelech, you and all your father's house. This is wicked, Saul. Saul, this is wicked. You going from frying pan to fire. Now you're trying to use your authority. This is why I say absolute power corrupts absolutely, because in his mind, who's going to come check him? And now you're using your authority not only to kill this man, but also his household. So when people say such and such did it, this person did it, are we really looking at the implications and the long-reaching effects of bad choices? This is a bad choice, Saul. At no point did you go get some holy water, dip in the Jordan 7 times, throw some frankincense, get some water of purification. You needed a timeout. You needed a timeout. You needed a timeout. But instead of going timeout, you keep going further and further. 17. And the king said unto the footman, because you need people to carry out your foolishness. You need people to carry out your foolishness. The king said unto the footman that stood about him, turn and slay the priests of the Most High. They wrote it down for a reason. They wrote it down for a reason. Because their hand also is with David. You forgot. Are you forgetting? And because they knew when he fled and did not show it to me. But the servants of the king would not put forth their hand to fall upon the priests of the Most High. Because they ain't that crazy. Are they that crazy? Are they like, what are you talking about? Like, this is like somebody else's generation. So when you come in, say they did, or say somebody in your family unit did something that was wrong at the command of somebody who was over them. That doesn't absorb them from whatever comes back, and whatever comes back to those who come from them, right? So we have to think that these things, that they're actions that we take. If your parents say steal and lie and do all of these things because they're your parent, it puts you in a compromising position. But if you do it, just like in the case of Jacob, he did it. But guess what? Even though his mother says the sin will be upon her, it's like, no, mommy, that's kind of not what happened. The sin was upon him. Even though the mother thought that she can absorb his sin, it don't work like that. Let's continue. So the footman was like, me don't know about that in a Saul. I think you go too far with this whole put him to death kind of thing. I don't know. I don't feel too comfortable with that. It was like on the scene on Boys in the Hood when who was that? Cuba Gooding and Junior Car when they was about to go do the drive-by in Boys in the Hood. He's like, let me out. And they was like, let him out, man. He was like, nah, this is too much for me. I'm not putting blood on my hands. I don't blame him. 17. And the king said unto the footmen that stood about him. Oh, we already read that. I was so in my feelings. I read it again. 18. And the king said to Doeg, the one who told on them in the first place, turn thou and fall upon the priests. Are we remembering who the Edomites are? And why Doeg may be willing to throw people under the bus, but the people, the children of the Most High, were like, I don't think I want to do that. It says, and Doeg, the Edomite, turned and fell upon the priests and slew on that day 85 persons that did wear a linen ephod. How is it? 80 is how much? If I can remember correctly, I don't want to miss y'all. Let me go double check how much 80. 80 is, I think, 80 is 20. How much is a score? 4 times 20. That's what I thought. I thought the score was 20. 80, right? So how much we at? They fell upon 85 people. 85 people. I got to put my glasses on straight for that one. Priest. Because a wicked king who wanted to kill one man, and because he couldn't kill that one man, he commanded Doeg to kill the man and all of his family. Interesting. 19. And Nob, the city of the priests, smote he with the edge of the sword, both men and women and children and suckling and oxen and donkeys and sheep with the edge of the sword. What in all of creation? This Edomite genocides that whole family line. Now, unless this family line did something early on that they was prophesied that this was going to happen to them, this is very interesting. 20. And one of the sons of Achimelech, the son of Achitub, named Abithar, escaped and fled after David. And Abithar showed David that Saul had slain the Most High's priest. So, 22. And David said on Abithar, I knew it that day when Doeg the Edomite was there, that he would surely tell. He's like, I knew that it was a snitch. I knew it. I knew he was going to rattle me. I knew he was coming. Because when he went to the priest that day, remember it says Vlad was there. TMZ was there. And they were going to report. Okay? They was going to say that you was on crack and you moved to Africa. They was going to slay your personality. This is the same stuff that's happening today. This same stuff that's happening today, right? And David said unto Abithar, I knew it that day that Doeg the Edomite was there, that he would surely tell Saul, I have occasioned the death of all the persons of thy father's house. Now imagine you homeless, you on the run. Now you got 400 guys following you. How you going to feed them? What are they going to eat? Where y'all going to sleep? Okay. Now the house is split. It's East Coast versus West Coast. It's all of this one person's that one. It's gang. They gang fight right now. It's the house of Saul or the servants of Saul against David's men who are discontented with what Saul is doing. Now he has on his shoulders that he is the cause of all of this death that came upon Abithar's family. 23. Abide thou with me and fear not. David, how you reassuring people? For he that seek his life, seek your life too. But with me, you shall be safeguarded. David's like, well, guess what? I guess we in the same boat now. So you might as well just chill with me a little bit. Welcome to those who just joined us. Drop your thoughts in the box below. Right now, we are making our way through. Samuel, and we're looking at how nothing much has changed throughout the time. And what can we really learn from this experience with David, right? What happened before, how sin continues, and how we enter into a story. Remember, Solomon is not born yet. So when Solomon comes in, David has a lot of stuff already in the tank. He already has stuff that's already brewing for all the children and the strife and the wildness that happens with his children and the women and all of this stuff. Because David, right at this point, he has not had any time to stop and really bethink himself. Because like they say in this day and time, he was in fight or flight mode. He's living off of adrenaline right now. He's living off of cortisol. He's hungry. He's tired. He's doing like 10 tours right now. Okay. He has blood on his hands, and murder in his of itself carries a level of heaviness with it. Let me see how many verses on this one. We're going to do one more. Let me know if I should do one more chapter. Are you people enjoying yourself? Are you learning something new? Have you looking at a new perspective somehow, possibly? If so, let me know. Let me know in the description below. If you're missing it on the party and you're on what's this, Instagram, go ahead and go to the YouTube channel, either Amuna Yisrael, or you can go to Under the Palm so you can get the full video. I don't want my phone to die, so hold on 1 second and we'll be back. Thank you for joining us. Oopsie. Hold on, everybody. I'm taking 2 seconds. 2 seconds. So yeah, it's crazy at this point, and we're gonna go one more chapter because again, this is how people get caught up, and before you know it, you forget how it all unfolded. And to think, if everybody's hearing everything that's happening, imagine what Micah is feeling. Imagine how she's feeling. Like the last time she saw him, she saved his life as well. She lied to her father. She put a little image in the bed, and that was the last time she saw him. The last time she saw him, he was on his way, shimmying down out the window and on the run. Her man is on the run. You're enjoying story time. I'm glad you're enjoying it. So we're gonna do one more chapter, and then we're gonna roll up. 23. This is 1 Samuel chapter 23. Then they told David, saying, so David tells Abiathar, rock with me because he don't like you either. They thought they killed everybody and you here, so you might as well not go back home. Then they told David, saying, behold, the Philistines fight against Keilah, and they rob the threshing floors. Therefore David inquired of the Most High, saying, shall I go and smite these Philistines? And they stay fighting the Philistines. I thought the Philistines by this time would learn their lesson. And the Most High said unto David, go and smite the Philistines and save Keilah. And David's men said unto him, behold, we be afraid here in Judah. That's not a good look to go out starting off that you're afraid. I mean, I understand. Thank you for investing in me and trusting me with those emotions. But it's like, should we go to war? Yeah, but I'm afraid. I don't know, David. It might. How much more if we come to Keilah against the armies of the Philistines? So remember, they're from Judah and they're not safe in Judah. And he's like, we're going to go somewhere else. It's really not safe over there. I don't too like that hood. 4. Then David inquired of the Most High yet again. And the Most High answered him and said, arise, go down to Keilah, for I will deliver the Philistines into your hands. So David and his men went to Keilah and fought with the Philistines. I want to pause here. Again, the Most High may be telling us, or when we're at our pressure is on us and we're at the darkest moment, and we're getting an instruction to go do something that we're not safe and feel safe doing. We're not comfortable with it. It's like, trust me. And it's like what your eyes are seeing, what you've been through. You're like, I don't know. I need more assurance. But he's like, no problem. Go and it'll be all right. So David and his men went to Keilah, and they fought against the Philistines and brought away their cattle and smote them with a great slaughter. So David saved the inhabitants of Keilah. And it came to pass when Abiathar, the son of Abimelech, fled to David to Keilah, that he came down with an ephod in his hand. Remember, he's a priest. These are the last of the priests of this particular house is still alive, right? 7. And it was told Saul, help. I don't want nobody to tell me, oh, that was ancient times. How are they knowing all of this stuff? What's going on, Pansy? How are they knowing all of this stuff? They did not have Twitter. They did not have cell phones. And every move that David makes, word gets back. They either had some fast pigeons or Hussein built boat on their track team, because they was running messages quick. Okay, they was running messages quick. And then it came to Saul. Here it is. Saul got none but spies. It was told to Saul that David was come to Keilah. And Saul said, the Most I have delivered him into my hand. Now, Saul, what are wickedness? This is also to show you that people could have wicked intentions in their heart and involve the Creator in their wickedness. Saul, you had an evil spirit, a duppy, that was antagonizing you. It caused you to lose your ever-loving mind. And for somehow you thought David, whose life was spared from you, that the Creator is the one who delivered him into your hand, for he is shut in by entering into a town that have gates and bars. This is how people could become self-deluded. Self-deluded. You're doing evil and talking about the Most High opened the door for you to do evil. We need to bethink ourselves. Saul is really going too far. And Saul called all the people together to war, to go down to Keilah to besiege David and his men. We have to also be careful who we follow, because we may be like, oh, we're just following the people, or that person was in charge, or they were my leader. Yeah, but they're causing you to sully your hands. They're causing you to have blood upon your hands, and they can't take it off either. They'll convince you, as Saul was trying to guilt trip them, but the reality is the choices that we make is the choices that we make. So now Saul is over here trying to get everybody in trouble. So let's continue. 9. And David knew that Saul secretly practiced mischief against him. You think, David? When you say mischief, and he said to Abiathar the priest, bring hither the ephod. Wait a minute. This practice mischief. Let me go to the Hebrew and Greek real quick. I'm trying to keep it on the up and up, but this whole practice mischief, my mind is going left, because later on Saul goes to the witch of Endor. I'm trying to figure out what it really says, because I'm reading just for translation, for the sake of, hold on, now it took me back, for the sake of conversation. But what is this practice mischief of which ye speak? 23. I gotta go get my other book. Hold on 1 second. Inquiring minds want to know. Where did I put it? What verse was we on? Here. And David knew that Saul secretly practiced mischief against him. That's interesting. I'm going to have to look at that. I might have to come back another time on verse 9. That secretly practiced, because he outright hated him. So what is this secretly practiced mischief against him? I'll look at the Hebrew interpretation of that at another time. Pansy say Saul was cray-cray. Yeah, he was definitely on one. I'll come back to 9 at another time. I have to sit down and look at the Hebrew. Then said David, O Most High, power of Israel, thy servant have certainly heard that Saul seek to come to Keilah to destroy the city for my sake. So, because we see he just destroyed a man's house of 85 people. Okay, so Saul, like that's like, what are you doing? And he's really rebelling against the Creator, because he already knows, Saul, pack it up. Just get out the Oval Office. Just cut it out already. But he's not going to go easy. He's not going to go easy. What's going on here? 11. Will the men of Keilah deliver me up into his hand? Will Saul come down as thy servants have heard? O Most High, power of Israel, I beseech thee, tell thy servant. And the Most High said he will come down. Because he's trying to figure out, like, what's about to happen. You know what I mean? Like, I like fighting, but I don't know if I'm going to fight Saul. Like, he goes up against Goliath and Philistines, but now he's afraid because Saul is coming. 12. Then said David, will the men of Keilah deliver me and my men into the hand of Saul? After they just saved the city, right? And the Most High said, they will deliver thee up. Now look at this, because this is also important. Sometimes when we have these trauma bonds to the wrong set of people, right? And you go out your way. Remember, they just went all the way out their way. They went out their way to like and subscribe and share, by the way, people. They went out their way. David went out of his way to save the city because the Philistines were over there robbing their flesh and their food, basically, their threshing floor. And now David is concerned that these same people he just helped are going to be the one who's going to turn him over. So it is when we are oftentimes in these trauma bonded relationships. The person you love, the person you've tried to help, the person that you gave your all for is the same person that's going to violate you, that's going to give you up, the same person that puts you in the precarious situation in the first place, right? And it's a cycle that keeps going until we realize, oh snap, we need to take control of what's going on here. So it's like, no questions, don't worry up, don't, break your heart right now because they're about to give you up. Imagine knowing that somebody's about to violate you and there's nothing much you can do. 13, then David and his men, which were about 600, he just recruited another 200 men, arose and departed out of Keilah and went whithersoever they could go, on the run again. And it was told Saul that David was escaped from Keilah. And he forbore to go forth. The word be traveling quick, don't it? What in all of SMS messages is going on? 14. And David abode in the wilderness in strongholds, and he remained in a mountain in the wilderness of Ziph. And Saul sought him every day, but the Most High delivered him not in his hand. He is on hot pursuit for this man. It's like, what is wrong with you? Every day they pull up your social media. Every day they call their friends. Every day they talking about you. They can't stand you. They set deep traps for you. They did all these things, but they can't stop pursuing you because there was an evil spirit on them. I'm talking to somebody somewhere. That's what they do always, the ones who help and betray you, right? This is what's happening right now. So again, I said there's nothing new under the sun. This guy is related by blood. I mean, not by blood, by marriage. Okay. He's like a surrogate father for David. He's supposed to be looking out for David, helping him to, but he's like, absolutely not. I'm not going to put you in that position. You're not going to get it that easily. So every day Saul is getting up, pursuing. He's also getting what they call flying monkeys in the narc community of conversation and toxic community. He has his flying monkeys, which is his foot soldiers. And whatever he commands them, they're not using their common sense like the priest. Like, wait a minute, this is wrong. Because why? Like the priest, if the person who's oppressing you has the power to violate you, people are afraid. So they'd rather keep their mouth closed than say something and get rained on. Okay, so all of these people who are following Saul, they're afraid to speak up because they see what happens when you speak up. 15. And David saw that Saul was come out to seek his life. And David was in the wilderness of Ziph in a wood. Can you imagine how tired this man must be? Can you imagine? Day and night, night and day and night, night and day. All the while he's like, why are you pursuing me? What is wrong? What did I do to you? It's one thing to know that you violated somebody and that's why they're coming for you. It's a very next thing to know that you didn't do anything to this person, not that you can remember, but this person has a vendetta. They have an axe to grind. This is David's situation, okay? Where are we? 16. And Jonathan, Saul's son, arose and went to David in the wood and strengthened his hand in the Most High. The Most High will put somebody there. He will put his malakim there. He will put his angels there. He will put his messengers there to be like, yo, I know you're going through it right now. It is crazy. He said Saul was the Energizer Bunny. He was not stopping. And again, if you've ever been, someone has been in hot pursuit of you in this way, it's nothing you wish upon your worst enemy, because it goes beyond human comprehension why somebody would behave in this way. It goes beyond human comprehension why somebody would pursue you in this way. Why would they invest so much energy? But it happens, and we can see it happening in the case of Saul and David, right? So let's continue. So he has somebody, a friend in need is a friend indeed. Jonathan, Saul's son, he came out and he was like, yo, David, man, I know, man. But no word, the most I got you. So because he strengthened his hand in the creator. So he's making him to remember that, hey, don't worry, you're going to be good. It's hard to believe that at this time, right? Because everything that can go wrong has gone wrong up until this point. So somebody telling you, sometimes it feels like, yo, stop playing games with me. Somebody keeps telling you it's going to be okay. And he's the one who's been running around. Jonathan probably hopped out of his warm, cozy bed, put on his little coat, like, oh, backside me, I said, David, down in the woods. Let me go and go check him and give my strength. You know what I mean? That time David is over there sleeping under the acacia tree or something. It's crazy. Let's continue. 17. And he said unto him, fear not, for the hand of Saul my father shall not find thee, and you shall be king over Israel. This is what this was all about. Remember, we read the curses of what's going to happen when you become king, right? But this was the order. They already choose it. So there was no backseas. You ain't going back. Don't worry. You're going to become king, and I shall be next unto thee. It coming like Jonathan didn't even want the job, really. And that also Saul, my father, know. So it's inevitable. He knows what's going to go down, and he's trying to prevent the inevitable. Why? Because he's in his feelings, right? He knows his father's off. And he's like, yo, and really, to me, Jonathan is securing his spot. He's like, yo, my pops is off. I already know you got next, and I'm with you, right? 18. And they two made a covenant before the Most High. Again, what is this, like the fourth covenant? Yo, Jonathan wanted to make sure that you understood what it was. Like this is like the fourth covenant already. And David abode in the wood, and Jonathan went his house. I told you David is in the woods, man. He is sleeping in the woods. He is outside in the element. 19. Then came up the Zephites to Saul to Gibeah. Father, give us the strength. Everybody is rotting on David. One to know, saying, doth not David hide himself with us in the strongholds in the woods? You know, say, boy, David, you know, say, what me say, why, dear? Me not say, boy, David in the woods, man. You don't know that. It says, in the hill of Hakilah, which is on the south of Geshon. Yo, they're giving GPS coordinates, man, on the corner of Central and 5th. David is right there. Don't you know that? How you don't know that? And Saul said, blessed be ye. No, Saul is giving out blessings. Father, give us the strength. You gotta, all right, Fancy, you gotta be careful who's giving out blessings. You gotta be careful who's speaking over you. Because look at this man doing all manner of evil at this point. And he's over here giving out blessings. Let's continue. Blessed be ye of the Most High, for ye have compassion on me. Again, he's over here trying to get people to go arm in arm and in league with the wickedness that he's doing. 22. Go, I pray you, prepare yet, and know, and see his place where his haunt is, and who have seen him there. For it is told me that he deal very subtly. He's slippery. That David, you have to go and tell me exactly which part him there, so me can come deal with him. 23. See therefore and take knowledge of all the lurking places where he hide himself, and come ye again to me with the certainty, and I will go with you. He was like, yo, don't play no games with me. I've been running this guy all over town. You understand what I'm saying? I need you to go and tell me surely where this guy's at, and then I'm gonna come. I'm not gonna come right now because I'm getting old. I can't be running around like this. Yeah, let me know where he at. And it shall come to pass, if he be in the land, that I will search him out throughout all the thousands of Judah. Imagine the story that's like, let me see. Imagine the information that's going back and forth between the people, the children and the wives and the mothers and the sisters. It's not a safe place to be, clearly. If the king right now is running around doing the most, it's not a safe place. 24. And they rose and went to Ziph before Shaul or Saul. But David and his men were in the wilderness of Maon, in the plain of the south of Geshimon. 25. Saul also and his men went to seek him. Oh, so no, Saul, sure, no. He could exert a little energy because now he's sure that that's where he's at. And they told David, wherefore he came down into a rock and abode in the wilderness of Maon. And when Saul heard that, he pursued after David in the wilderness of Maon. We're almost to the end. Then we're going to wrap up. How much time are we running on right now? All right, not bad. We're not doing bad. And I dropped a link in the box if anyone wants to tap in and share their thoughts on this here. This here installment of What in the World? Of What in the World? Some people's, they were in people's was in gangs, and they were in all type of things before they were born, all type of organizations. They put their hands to all type of things. And a lot of this stuff you either know or you don't know, or you know in piecemeal, right? So whatever they did, look at how many covenants David entered into. This is like the fourth covenant that he made with Jonathan. That means if the Most High is witnessing between this and he reneges on any of this, some of the negative effects of that is going to trickle down into his family, right? Where are we? And Saul went on the side of the mountain, and David and his men on that side of the mountain. And David made haste to get away for fear of Saul. For Saul and his men compassed David and his men round about to take him. So if this man is a mighty warrior, and he out here, he's not afraid of Goliath. He's out here slewing people. Was he really afraid of Saul, or did he have reverence for him for some reason? Right? He's done in more people, but for some reason, when he sees Saul, he doesn't want to engage in battle with him. 27. But there came a messenger unto Saul, saying, haste thee and come, for the Philistines have invaded the land. So while you were here running around behind David, right, you forgot that you had real enemies. And this is also for internal family strife and struggle. You forget that you have real enemies or real people outside that's trying to compromise your family unit, but they destroy themselves from within. The father against the mother, against the children against, you're destroying yourself from within, right? And therefore you are easy target. So the Philistines is seeing, well, y'all not at home. Your king is over here in bushes and stuff, running behind David. So guess what? Now is a better time than any. 28. Wherefore Saul returned from pursuing after David, you think? And went against the Philistines. Therefore they called that place Shalah hold on, because they've just put it all together. Shelacham Maklekoth. And 29, David went up from thence and dwelt in strongholds in En-Gedi. All right, we're gonna rest it right there, peoples, because this is something. Again, Solomon asked for wisdom. Solomon also had a lot of information so that he can gain understanding about his experience, right? He had a lot of information to go off of. Look at all of this. David's is one of the most extensive recollections, because it's following his life for quite some time, and you're able to see a lot of the things that happened to him, for him, and with him, things that he did, things that he said, that, you get a lot of information here. So it's a great opportunity to do a study, and that's why we're doing it. So that was interesting, y'all. That was interesting. I put the link in the box. I'm gonna hold on for a few more seconds, and then I'm a boogie. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank everybody for joining us with this interesting Bible study version, with the purpose of gaining some deeper understanding and insight on where people's minds were at. One of the things some people don't even read these portions, but they read the Psalms, not realizing, just like song lyrics, they're evoking certain energies in your life, certain because the way the energy in which it was written is encapsulated in the words. It's just the same way, because there are songs. It's just the same way if you sing certain songs that people wrote today. That energy and the spirit in which they wrote it is encapsulated in the songs, in the melodies. And when you evoke these, when you breathe life into it by singing them and saying them, then you invite this energy into your life. So not every single song or Psalm of David should you just be reading into your life? Because as we can see, if you're not in that specific space and you don't want to evoke those circumstances, then you gotta be careful what you're reading, especially out loud. I realized that over the years. I don't know if people be like, Amuna, you bugging out, or whatever the case may be, but you, as we could see, David was desperate in some spaces. David was on the edge. He was like, he wrote it down, but that doesn't mean that because he wrote it down that he wasn't in certain spaces and certain spirits that still live on until this day. Until this very day, you may not know what he looked like, but you know how he felt. And those feelings are translated in today's space and time. So any more thoughts, feel free to let me know. If not, I'm going to go ahead and wind down. That was interesting. I enjoyed it. And it was very insightful. And each time you read the scripture, each time you read the text, something else jumps out. You know, you learn something new, you grow from something new. So definitely. All right, everyone. So with that said, my name is Imuna. I want to thank you for tuning in. If you have not subscribed to Under the Palm, it has been up there for many years when I was more active. I put a lot of videos over there. I'm going to start just multi-streaming on many platforms. So definitely subscribe to Under the Palm as well as this channel, Amuna, as well. If you would like to contribute, I think I pinned it at the top, Under the Palm. You're welcome, sis. I set up a Under the Palm. I set up a Cash App as well for Under the Palm as well, because I'm looking to do some things. Sister Mine is like, Amuna, we got to do some things. We gotta put on some events, you know. And so I'm just thinking ahead. Really, I think I am going to. I've come out of my hiatus. I've been on hiatus for quite some time in this regard, and so yeah, I'm just moving up to the mark and starting off by showing up for these here Torah Bible study sessions. So with that said, thank everybody for tuning in. We'll talk again soon. Judah says you enjoyed the reading. You are welcome. And let me know what else you see, what else you were able to glean. Because again, I'm looking from a certain lens, right? And so everybody has a lens by where they look. So again, feel free to share your thoughts in the box below and we can definitely discuss. So with that said, everybody have a blessed day and we'll talk again soon. Peace.